Yellow to orange. Two words that might sound harmless on their own, but when they describe a volcano's alert status, they mean something is happening right now beneath the surface that scientists cannot ignore. That is exactly what just occurred at Kilauea, one of the most active and closely monitored volcanoes on Earth. In less than a single day, this volcano went from sitting quietly at a calm status to triggering emergency level monitoring, and researchers with the U.S. Geological Survey are watching every second of it unfold. So if you want to understand what actually happens behind the scenes when a volcano escalates this fast, and why scientists take a simple color change so seriously, stick around, because this story moves quicker than you'd expect. Let's set the stage first. Kilauea has technically been erupting on and off since December of 2024, but not in the way most people imagine when they picture a volcano constantly spewing lava. Instead, this eruption has unfolded as a series of distinct episodes, each one separated by periods of quiet where the volcano appears to rest. Before this latest escalation, Kilauea was sitting at advisory status with a yellow aviation color code. According to the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory, that meant the volcano was not actively erupting at that moment, though scientists were still detecting subtle warning signs. There was slight, infrequent spatter within the north vent, along with a moderate to strong glow persisting at both the north and south vents. The volcano, in other words, was resting but not silent. Then, on the morning of August 12th, everything changed. Around 11:20 in the morning, precursory low-level eruptive activity began, with intermittent lava dome fountaining and overflows spilling out of the north vent. Just 15 minutes later, a second overflow started, lasting roughly 4 minutes. To the untrained eye, this might look like a minor blip. But to the scientists, monitoring Kilauea's every tremor and tilt, this was the clear signal that summit inflation was continuing, and that pressure building beneath the surface was reaching a critical point. Almost immediately, the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory made the call, raise the volcano alert level from advisory to watch, and shift the aviation color code from yellow to orange. Here's the part that genuinely surprised even experienced observers. Officials have said that this kind of low-level precursory activity can typically continue for hours to days before a full eruption actually kicks off. That window gives scientists, park officials, and residents time to prepare. But this time, the transition happened remarkably fast. The precursory activity began around 11:20 in the morning. And by 3:45 that same afternoon, the main event, officially labeled episode 53 of the ongoing Halemaʻumaʻu eruption, was already underway. From first warning sign to full eruption in under 5 hours. That is an extraordinarily tight window, and it's exactly why this particular yellow to orange jump is being described as one of the fastest escalations scientists have tracked in months. Once episode 53 began, it did not hold back. The eruption raged for 9.6 hours straight before ending abruptly at 1:23 in the morning on August 13th. Throughout that stretch, the north vent produced continuous lava fountaining, with the final 4 minutes marked by intense gas jetting and open flames shooting from the vent. The maximum fountain height reached approximately 500 feet into the air, a genuinely striking and dangerous display of the Earth's raw power. At its peak, the instantaneous effusion rate, essentially how fast molten lava was pouring out of the ground, hit around 300 cubic yards per second. To put that into perspective, that's enough lava erupting in a single second D to fill a small backyard swimming pool, repeated over and over for hours on end. And this was not a solo act from just one vent either. While the north vent handled the dramatic fountaining, the south vent overflowed as well, along with a newer vent that had formed from what was previously just a collapse pit. That newer vent periodically emitted open flames, becoming especially visible after 7 in the evening. When multiple vents activate simultaneously like this, even if only one produces the visible E fountaining, it tells scientists that the magma system underground is under serious pressure and actively searching for multiple pathways to the surface. Now let's talk about the ash plume, because this matters enormously for anyone living downwind or planning to visit the area. During episode 53, the volcanic plume climbed to a maximum height of approximately 18,000 feet above sea level. That's a massive column of ash, gas, and volcanic particles rising into the sky. Fortunately, in this particular episode, tephra fall, meaning the ash and rock fragments raining back down to Earth, stayed largely confined to the closed section of Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, specifically southwest and west of the active vents. That containment matters immensely because it kept the most hazardous material away from populated communities nearby. If this breakdown is helping you understand what's really happening out there, go ahead and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who want facts instead of vague clickbait. So why does a simple color code change like yellow to orange matter so much to scientists and to the public? These alert systems exist specifically to communicate risk in a standardized, universally understood way. primarily for aviation safety, but also for nearby residents and park visitors. When a volcano sits at advisory with a yellow code, it generally signals unrest above normal background levels, but nothing suggesting an eruption is imminent. Once that shifts to watch with an orange code, it signals heightened unrest with an increased likelihood of eruption, or in cases exactly like this one, that an eruption is either actively happening or just occurred with hazards still limited to the immediate area. This tiered system lets pilots, park rangers, and residents instantly gauge how serious a situation is without needing to interpret raw seismic data themselves. For now, all of the eruptive activity from episode 53 stayed safely confined to Halemaʻumaʻu crater within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Officials have been clear that there was no immediate threat to nearby communities from this specific episode. That containment is largely thanks to the crater's natural structure and the fact that the entire caldera rim area has actually been closed to the public since late 2007, precisely because of how hazardous it is. Scientists have specifically warned that close to the eruptive vents, the tephra material on the crater rim is prone to cracking, slumping, and small landslides that can expose hot, molten material underneath. That is exactly why public access remains restricted, even during the quieter periods between eruptive episodes. Once episode 53 concluded, the volcano alert level was lowered back down from watch to advisory, and the aviation color code returned from orange back to yellow. This kind of rapid cycling, a jump up to orange, an eruption occurs, then a drop back down to yellow, has become something of a signature pattern for this particular eruptive sequence at Kilauea. But here's the key thing scientists want the public to understand. Just because the alert level drops after an episode ends does not mean the underlying system has gone quiet for good. Summit inflation tends to resume within days, sometimes even faster, setting the stage for the entire cycle to potentially repeat itself all over again. This pattern of rapid alert escalation is genuinely a fascinating case study in how modern volcano monitoring actually works. The Hawaiian Volcano Observatory relies on a dense network of seismometers, tilt meters, and gas sensors to detect subtle changes happening beneath the surface long before anything becomes visible to the naked eye. T, ground level. Tilt meters specifically measure extremely small changes in the slope of the ground, which can indicate that magma is pushing upward and inflating the summit area from below. It was exactly this kind of inflation signal that gave scientists the confidence to raise the alert level so quickly once precursory activity began on August 12th. If you want to keep up with developing natural hazard stories like this one, whether it's volcanic activity, tropical storms, or anything shaping the news in real time, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. It also helps to understand why these lava fountaining episodes tend to end just as abruptly as they begin. Unlike a slow, steady lava flow that can ooze along for weeks at a time, fountaining events are driven by gas, rich magma rushing rapidly up through a narrow underground conduit. As that gas escapes and pressure in the system drops, fountain can shut off almost instantly, which is exactly what happened here, with episode 53 ending abruptly after nearly 10 hours of continuous, dramatic activity. Scientists describe this stop-start rhythm as one of the more predictable aspects of the current eruptive sequence, even if the exact timing of each new episode remains genuinely difficult to forecast in advance. There is also real scientific value in watching these color code escalations unfold so closely, over and over again. Every cycle of inflation, precursory activity, and fountain hands researchers more data about how the magma chamber beneath the summit is behaving over time. That data feeds directly into future forecasts, helping scientists refine how much advance warning they can realistically give before the next episode begins. In a strange way, each eruption makes the observatory a little better prepared for the one that follows. Even as Kilauea keeps proving it can still catch even seasoned volcanologists off guard with how fast conditions can shift from calm to critical. Looking ahead, scientists say they will continue closely monitoring Kilauea and will issue additional notices as conditions evolve. Given the pattern established over the past several months, another round of summit inflation followed by a new precursory phase and eventual fountaining episode is considered likely, though the exact timing remains genuinely hard to pin down with precision. What we do know for certain is that this latest escalation, the jump from a calm yellow status to a full 9.5-hour eruption in under a single day, ranks among the fastest transitions scientists have documented throughout this entire eruptive sequence. For residents near the national park, and for anyone planning a visit to Hawaii volcanoes. National Park in the coming days, the message from officials stays consistent. Stay informed through official monitoring channels, respect all closures around the caldera rim, and understand that even when the alert level sits at a calmer yellow status, this volcano has now proven more than once that it can escalate to full eruption faster than almost anyone expects. Kilauea is not some distant, dormant curiosity sitting quietly on an island. It is one of the most active and closely watched volcanoes on the entire planet, and this latest yellow to orange jump is a striking reminder of just how quickly things beneath the surface can change. For visitors hoping to safely view this kind of activity, officials continue to stress that designated viewing areas within Hawaii, Volcanoes National Park, are the only safe way to witness an eruption like this. These areas are chosen specifically because they offer a clear vantage point while staying well outside the zone where ground cracking, spatter, or shifting tephra could pose a direct danger. Anyone tempted to get closer than the marked boundaries is stepping into terrain that scientists have explicitly flagged as hazardous, regardless of how calm the volcano might appear in between episodes. It's also worth understanding just how much preparation goes into issuing an alert level change like this one. Raising the volcano alert level is not a decision made lightly or on a whim. It requires confirmation across multiple independent data streams, seismic activity, ground deformation measured through tilt meters and GPS stations, gas emission readings, and direct visual observation from monitoring cameras positioned around the crater. When all of these signals point in the same direction at once, that is when the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory feels confident. Enough to make a rapid call like the one we saw on August 12th. This layered verification process is exactly why, even though the escalation from yellow to orange happened quickly, it was not a reactionary guess. It was backed by a convergence of real, measurable evidence. We will keep tracking this story as new updates come in from official sources, so stay. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this one. Stay curious, stay informed, and we will see you in the next one.